or last.
Hugo Bachega reporting there. He's in Jerusalem for us. I'll be speaking to him shortly. But first, let's go live to southern Gaza to talk to Thomas White, who's director of UNRWA Affairs, which, for those who are unaware, is the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees. Thank you for being on the programme. So I presume you were relieved to hear today that we have another pause, another 24 hours in the pause of hostilities.
Well, it's certainly good news for the people of Gaza. It's another day where there's a respite from the fighting that's taken too many lives and destroyed too many homes of people here in Gaza. So certainly people are pleased that they have another day of relative quiet here in Gaza.
Just talk us through the logistics for you as an organisation. Of course, you're appealing for donations, for help, for the huge need we're seeing on our screens on a day-to-day basis. You're in Rafah, based in Rafah. What are the challenges you're facing?
Well, essentially, UNRWA and other UN agencies and humanitarian organisations have been overwhelmed by the sheer scale of displacement into southern Gaza. The infrastructure, the water infrastructure, for example, is totally overwhelmed with the number of people who are now in the south. There's just not enough places for people to shelter. In the UNRWA schools, which have been set up as temporary shelters for people, we had plans that they would accommodate about 1,500 people per shelter. We're averaging over 6,000 people in our shelters in the south. As you can imagine, the ability of those buildings and our staff to serve those people is just very, very difficult. To give you an example, we're averaging 125 people using one toilet. So basic things like sanitation in these shelters is very difficult. People are jammed into very congested classrooms in the evenings. And the reality is now at one of our schools, we've now had an outbreak of hepatitis A. So the risk of disease is very present in Gaza at the present time.
In terms of the humanitarian aid that's been able to come into Gaza since the truce began, what difference has that made?
There's been a moderate increase of aid into Gaza through the Rafah crossing. The pause has also enabled us to get much needed humanitarian aid to communities who are still in the north. But the reality is it's not even close to what we need. And just to give you an example, I was at one of our shelters in Khan Yunis yesterday. People are living off, 1 or 2 rounds of Arabic bread every day. And on every second or third day, there'll be a food distribution, which the reality is it's, for a family, it's a can of tuna or a can of cheese, and that's all that's coming in. So, food insecurity is a big problem in the south. Not enough aid is coming in to support the overwhelming number of people who are now seeking shelter in Gaza, in the south of Gaza.
OK, for now, thank you. Thomas White there, Director of UNRWA Affairs, joining us live from